Welcome to Unhinged, the third episode. I can't believe we made it this far, Cokes.
Yes, we did it. We did it, Brooklyn.
Yeah. I mean, also, internet fuckery is every day. So it provides this really unique opportunity. I'm drewbreez, and here at the behest of the great Koku Puff, who has very graciously invited me to be part of this ongoing conversation. So thank you. How are you doing, Koku?
Really? I'm Koku, otherwise known as Koku Puff, and I'm here with my friend Breez. He is just doing too much. This is not we were just like, yo, you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it. Unhinged, season 1, episode 3. Let's do it. Let's get into it. What you want to talk about today?
I mean, I'm seeing some news circulate. First of all, I'm gonna call out, this is a very unreliable tip, because it was like a tweet that was like from an account called like Got City Tea. So I'm gonna like already make a disclaimer that this is unreliable information that I'm ready to run with immediately.
You getting your allegedly bag?
Yeah. I'm gonna be very allegedly. And okay, so allegedly there is a shout out to Jesus and Mero, you know what I mean? Rest in podcast. But
shout out to Jesus and Mero.
There is a rapper in Atlanta who does not like how things are going and plans to take down multiple people by informing the police, by like working with the police in order to, I don't know, like correct Atlanta, is what the tweet said. And of course, people were kind of going off in the comments about like what rapper would say that. And there's some going theories. The going theory is that it's the original tip.
It's one of two people.
Right. So I think I don't think it's this person, but people are saying that it's T.I. It's Tip Harris.
I've seen that.
Tip is in the name. But I don't think it's Tip. I think the language indicates to me another Atlanta rapper. I'm always on cop watch, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like,
I mean, I got the Citizens app, so I'm always like looking for something, and I've seen crimes in progress and like read it, like, oh, cool.
Yeah, you be on Citizen heavy.
I'm like, oh man, they got it. It is happening. He is bleeding out.
So I think it's Killer Mike. Killer Mike is the son of a cop. Killer Mike has also done this very like conservative turn within the last like few years, especially with that same kind of rhetoric of like, we got to take back our communities, like real cop shit. Like, not to say that taking back one's community is cop shit, but like that's the shit that cop type people say about the communities, not really like recognizing like who destroyed it in the first place. So I feel like it's Killer Mike, but I think it could just as easily be Tip too, though. What do you?
I guess it's all in who qualifies themselves as a rapper too. So just like we're saying, like sources saying allegedly,
yes,
there are people out there who may be moonlighting as rappers that might have studios in their closets. Say someone like myself. I'm not trying to, put nobody out there. I'm in the same position. You know what I'm saying? And that person may say that they are a rapper. So before we get into the names, because we're going to break it down, I'm going to break that down too. It could be someone who's purporting to be a rapper that we may not necessarily classify as a rapper, that I may actually know from seeing them at Panera Bread or something like that. So let's just keep that in mind. Okay.
Right. No, Panera Bread is a great mention too, actually.
I mean, I actually like Panera Bread salads. So it was just fresh off my mind. I wouldn't mind going.
Rick Ross owns Panera Bread franchises.
Rick Ross does?
Yeah, and is also known to be a cop.
Well, see, he knows that life very well. He did he put his hand on that Bible and signed that oath, swore on it. Yeah, that happened. But it's I know he had the wing stops, but I did not know, or in the thigh stops at some point. I did not know that he had Panera Bread in that mix too. Because Panera Bread I like. Wingstop I do not like. I don't even like their fries. I don't like anything about it.
Really?
No.
I wouldn't
And
take
I actually have a friend that owns a Wingstop, and
I would not take
even when I
Wingstop detractor. What's the reason that you don't like Wingstop?
there's something in the seasoning to me that has an aftertaste that just doesn't, I don't like it. And I don't like how like their breadedness is not, and also like when you think about fast food, like there's some places you're kind of willing to wait a little bit for your food, like Panera, but I'm willing to wait a little bit. But Wingstop is the kind of place, like let's just say I was just hungry on the fly, I have to eat something, I gotta get Wingstop. If I'm just gonna get like 3 chicken tenders, like I shouldn't have to wait 15 minutes for that. And that's what Wingstop is always doing.
I'm taking this on a tangent here because it's like you are, for a person who eats almost exclusively fast food, like for what I've seen on your feeds, it's like you eat like pretty much every variety of fast food and you look normal. Like I feel like anyone else who ate like the amount of fast food that
I love it,
you eat would be like in cardiac arrest. You know what I mean?
Like this is where I have to make another Giannis reference because I can relate to that. I was not raised eating fast food, so I get really excited. So like when I pass the McDonald's on the highway, I'm like, yay, McDonald's, like a little kid, you know? So for a long time, I was really like subsisting on Happy Meals because I was just, you know, as a grown-up, I was just so excited. I was saving the toys and putting them on my fireplace.
Yeah, so you actually got real nutrition when you were growing up and it didn't destroy your metabolism like the people it
totally backfired.
Wow.
There's something in every fast food restaurant that I like. In fact, one of my friends, he put me onto this, but he put me onto the Arby's Wagyu burger. It's so good. Because who eats at Arby's, right? But it's an amazing burger. It is the best fast food burger on the market, and they have good fast food lettuce. I don't like fast food lettuce, but I do like theirs.
Yeah, yes. Fast food lettuce tends to be very soggy.
So I can't do that. No, this is like a shredded type, almost like that bodega shred. So
okay.
yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, variety.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, I don't even like chopped cheese. I don't even know where this idea that everybody grew up on chopped cheese came from. Like I literally only got a chopped cheese because they were talking about it in the Bronx.
Yeah, I didn't have chopped cheese until maybe like a couple years ago. Like I never
exactly. And I was like, this is just like some like sloppy joes without the sloppy joe sauce. Like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, it's very regional, and like it makes me question people from the Bronx, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like
very Bronxy.
Yeah, it's very Bronxy. It's very like because like bacon, egg, and cheese, everyone relates to. It's very like, you know, pan New York. But chopped cheese, I feel like it's like this bastardized Philly cheesesteak. I don't like where it goes texturally. Like it's
me neither. It's not because I'm like, why are we doing all this? Yeah, we're doing all that and then still topping it and layering it like you would a regular burger. Like that's just weird. There's just too much going on. Yeah, you're right. Texturally, that's probably the best way to describe it. But I want to go back to the cop conversation and talk about the people that have been accused of being cops. I mean, you know, many, many years ago when T.I. first got into trouble and he had those like sort of outlandish gun charges, like you'd have thought that he was like, you know, just sort of suiting up for World War III, like he was just like up against the world, like he would have, you know, fallout shelter levels, like he really was ready for the end of the world. But mysteriously, he ended up out of prison, right, in a relatively short time. There were even some reports. I mean, you know, or it is what it is. I'm building the narrative as
let's do the math here.
I'm just doing the math. I'm building the narrative as it was told. Again, I don't know the variables. I'm not accusing this man of anything. You know, like he's a family man. He has a wife and children. It's not fair to just kind of go with the thing because I don't really know. But that's what was in front of us. So he gets out of prison, and you know, it just wasn't what people expected, especially coming from New York, where it's like in New York, Plaxico Burress shot himself, got that automatic 2.5. You know, listen, in New York, you simply like flash a gun. You could be in the window in your house, flash a gun. You know what I'm saying?
Lil Wayne was dealing with gun charges from New York for years.
Same thing, yes.
The last like 5 or 6 years.
And I feel like that gun, if I recall correctly, wasn't it a gun that he had a permit for in another state or someone else did or something?
Yeah, it was like an airport thing. It was like something kind of maritime law, shit like that.
No, it wasn't like that Joel Santana, like, oopsies, brought the gun and like run out the airport. Like that.
Gun in the duffel bag that you
Just
forgot.
like, oops, that loaded gun. Ooh, okay, no, it wasn't anything like that. So anyway, so that is what when people think about T.I. sometimes, that always sort of like they wrestle with that and they think about that often, right? So that's always something, a narrative that they grapple with it. Like, and again, I don't know, and then, of course, with Killer Mike, as you've said, with Killer Mike, I believe his father is in law enforcement. A lot of what Killer Mike has said, like you said, it's not a negative thing. It is about like, community empowerment and so forth. I very specifically do remember though, during during like the riots and at the height of the, as you would say, when Black lives actually matter. I do remember Killer Mike being really upset with people in Atlanta and saying like, listen, you guys are destroying all these businesses, like, kind of like, like this is not what this movement is about. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't disagree with him. I mean, I'm just like, I'm not going outside and just bashing in like the windows of every business, but I'm so focused on why everybody's angry that I'm kind of not thinking about businesses right now.
There you go.
So it's like, it just seemed like a very weird, like, thesis point in light of
it's like, why are you overly concerned with the thing that affects cops? You know what I mean? Like,
I thought that was weird.
Sympathetic to how cops are dealing with this. I mean, and it's not that simple. When shit is burning and property is burning, businesses are coming down. Like, obviously that affects the community, right?
And in fairness, Killer Mike is also a property owner. He's someone that does find value in keeping his businesses within the community. We're not talking about somebody that's not in the trenches, that didn't so-called get it out the mud, that does not walk the streets of Atlanta. Killer Mike don't got to be scared of nobody. Like, he is really a part of Atlanta. People see him, they know him, they feel comfortable talking to him. He's not inaccessible. He's not in some bubble. Something has to be said about that as well. So that is the vantage point. That's the vantage point that he's coming from. But there's also something, there's a lot of aggression, boldness, activism, and audacity in youth, right?
Yes.
All of us, when we were all younger, we just didn't give a damn about anything, like whether that was good or bad, whether you were utilizing that for, for the common good or whatever the case may be. As a youth, you just lack that reserve or that sort of like, maybe I should sort of dial it back a little bit. You will go at nothing to make sure that whatever it is that you're fighting for is going to be heard or understood or have eyes on it. So that's also, so there's definitely a demographic, like a disconnect here.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, like, with like Killer Mike and T.I., because they both came out at that same time, and we're talking about like, like, let's not riot, like, everybody calm down. It just had
T.I. also told us to boycott Gucci prior to that too, which was like, oh, okay, well, I can't afford Gucci, so conveniently I'm passively boycotting Gucci. So that was weird. Again, there's this tones of that where it made me think like, is this person really like, are we aligned? No,
I mean, they're doing it from like the mountaintop, right? Like they're like, hey, like, can you stop, like, this is affecting my mortgage rate, like that's the point of view that they're coming from. And also, like, when we talk about like T.I. and Killer Mike, but T.I. in particular, like, about what we know and don't know, is like, weren't you sex trafficking? Like, weren't you like doing allegedly sex trafficking, like doing some things that there were depositions about? Like, if there are ways that people can point to your moral backsliding, I feel like you're not the best authority on like how we should comport ourselves when human rights issues are being brought up. So I feel like T.I., especially with the disappearing charges, like he's a very disappearing charges type of dude. Like, he has an ad in that same thread for like informing the cops.
Yeah, like the cops. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know, I just feel like informing has done a real number on the community. Like, it's like substituted police work, right? Like, there's no actual investigation that goes on. It's like, you can get somebody who can snitch, then you can basically trade your jail time for someone else's. And I don't know, I feel like that is like unjust. So just on like a baseline, that's like very unjust, and like it's the basis for like all these RICO cases.
It's exactly. I want to get into that, but before we get into these RICO charges, I want to get into something that you just said, and it's really interesting. So as you were saying, like a lot of times there's just sort of like these people that want to tell us what we need to be doing, and they kind of want to stand on these soapboxes and talk about what we need to be doing for the community and what we're doing so wrong. But a lot of times they are in glass houses, right? But there's something that I've noticed. There's a commonality with the loudest people. They have an insatiable need to be seen. So even though there are chinks in their armor, and they may not necessarily be these sort of perfect people that have these outstanding track records of being just these moralistic, wonderful individuals or so forth. And you don't have to peel the layers back that far. You don't have to go that many weeks back or even hours. But it's always those kinds of people that seem to just really put themselves out there and kind of, in many cases, make a fool of themselves. I'm not even talking about T.I. necessarily. Look at the people on Twitter that stood in front of everything, called themselves activists, called themselves social justice warriors, all of these different things. There was a guy that they ended up busting for sex trafficking. There are people that have been busted for money laundering. There have been people that have been busted for PPP loans, like all these things. Mortgage frauds, all these things.
It's the dead giveaway. When you're too vocal, it's like that's the dead giveaway. That's like something's behind that.
I feel like any good deed doesn't have to be announced or pronounced, or if it is, like someone else is kind of like sort of cashing you in the act, or it's kind of like a by the way, or like you guys don't really know that these people do these things. It's never like, well, I'm over here, handing out blankets in the winter, and because I'm such a great person. Right. It's like, if you really are a good person, it doesn't have to be announced. Like, watch me give this homeless man a lunch. Yeah. I saw something really ridiculous like that today, and the guy was like, I didn't ask for that food. He's like, I don't want to eat that. I saw a video like that today, and it was actually really hilarious. The guy was like, I asked you for money, and you're talking about you're gonna give me a sandwich. I don't want that sandwich. The guy was like, oh, okay. He was just taking it back, but it's like, yo, keep it at 100. Like, I don't want your food. I didn't ask for that. Yes. So yeah,
and those types, they'll go out and they'll like criticize the man for wanting money and not a sandwich. You know what I mean? Like the T.I. types, the Killer Mike types will criticize that man.
So it's just interesting. It's just, when you put it that way. But again, going back to, you were just bringing up the RICO charges, right? So a lot of people don't understand like how you can get caught up in a RICO. Like the way that RICO charges work, because unfortunately, I know all kinds of people. From all
I'm like, wait, so how do you, like, tell us more about how you know about these RICO charges.
But I think what makes a RICO charge so effective is because so many people can be like, they cast a wide net of people that are somehow interconnected, that so many people can be involved in a charge, that many, many people are involved that don't even know each other. So there's no expectation of loyalty. So it's like the so-called idea of like, don't snitch. What is not snitching? I don't even know you. That's how a lot of people, that's why they're so effective. Because somebody's like, well, I don't even know who the heck, Jim whatever is, and you're telling me that I'm about to do 30 years for something I don't know what you're talking about. That's something. Or by me simply buying you a cell phone. Let me just say I bought you a prepaid phone in a phone store just because you asked me to, but you used that phone to make a phone call that connected you to something that was criminal. Yeah, but now I'm part because I'm involved. I'm in the web. I may have added a line or something like that. I'm in the web. We saw something else with somebody.
What are you buying these burner phones for? Like this sounds
let me tell you something. I am a digital savant. I have been on the internet for a very long time. I know many, many things that's intricately and detailed about the internet.
So whose core links are you filling up? Like what's
I'm not
whose JPay are you fucking maxing out?
Let me tell you. First of all, I don't send nobody money from jail. I have had money sent to me from jail. They can get money to you. Oh yeah, people from jail can get you money. They'll get you things. People
That's
from jail,
really clean pin shit. Like
they have everything.
Resources are available to you when you are in jail. Like, are you like still availed of all your assets? Like, can you still actually reach your, like, let's say you had a small fortune and you're in jail, you're locked up on a RICO charge or something that like isn't quite proven yet. You haven't done trial. Can you still access like your accounts? Or do you have to use a proxy? Like, how does that even work?
I don't even know about all of that. All I'm going to say is that when you talk about a proxy, like you're talking about things in legalities, whereas like your proxy might be day down the street. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So it's not, you're just getting a little too, it doesn't have to be that. It can just be like, make sure so-and-so got enough food
Got the
to eat
debit
this
card
month.
and the
Yeah,
PIN.
get whatever, just make sure that, so there's praxis in a very informal way. I'll just put it like that. So yeah, that's
Okay.
not, yeah. But
Okay. No, I
anyways,
mean, that's,
yeah.
I do think that like RICO is an unreasonable tool, like, and that YSL has gotten caught up. YSL, let's Young Slime Life, right? And Gunna and Thug, and then I feel like how many defendants did they name? It's like it's exactly what you said, which is like you can name 30
There's
people.
just so many people. Like it's not even possible to be intimately close to that many people to where you would even share that kind of information. Like, what are they saying? Like they're having like gang, like, conference calls, or like, having like gang meetings at banquet halls. It's actually quite ridiculous.
Yeah,
It just doesn't work like that. I mean, and even in regards to like, like criminality or like secrets or things like that. I mean, if really the best, if you're going to keep a secret, you don't tell anybody at all. People will tell you that all the time. But if you're going to tell,
it feels like it's a way for cops to become famous. Like it's a way for like cops who are looking to like boost their own reputations and their own cred and like their own media visibility. It's like a way for them to latch on to a high profile figure and say, because that high profile figure, because I mean, when we talk about a Young Thug, for instance, how many people does he interact with even in the course of a week? Probably like hundreds, right? Like he probably, like, there are people like him have to switch their phone numbers all the time because of how many people contact them, right? And so I'm sure that's also a way that cops and like feds become they start to lick their chops. They salivate over a target like that because he's so easy to associate with people who might be doing this on the side in the streets that he doesn't even know about, but because they were on a group chat, or like you said, he bought them a phone, or he hooked them up with a job, like then it becomes like a criminal syndicate.
But it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like you're just saying, like they want the visibility, they want their name out there, that kind of thing. It's the same exact concept. It's just people, they're less interested in actual justice. They want to be seen as somebody. And a lot of times the basis of being so attracted to attention on that level, like by any means, is really in the base, that in that person's core is insecurity.
Right.
That's all
like
that is.
Vanity too, right? Like
it's the audacity of, like you said, it's arrogance, which is not true confidence. It is wanting to be seen, wanting to be special, wanting everyone to believe the hype that you've created around yourself, because you know that deep down inside it's not true, or you don't think it's true. That's what honestly, this is always about.
That makes me think it's T.I. then, because like even though Killer Mike is a person who absolutely wants that kind of visibility, when I think about things like T.I.'s comedy career and like him being like ultra vocal around issues like like his daughter's chastity or purity, like his son in the drive-through cursing out the workers, and then him taking up for them on his social media posts, and like everything about T.I. is just like grabbing at a little more attention each day. And I feel like even this, which is like a blind item basically, right? Like it's a blind item, but it definitely reeks of T.I., right? Like just being in the headlines, being in the news, even when it's a blind item.
I'll tell you what, that's a blind item, but then we also saw the Atlanta DA. She made a statement that 2 more RICO cases were up next. And she was saying it like, we're, season 2, like it's premiering next week type stuff. We're in a TV show. So I'm just like, this is, like, yo, you about to drop the mixtape. Like, this is a little crazy to me. Like, why are we talking about, why are we instilling that kind of fear in people even,
because it makes her look good.
That's a little mad making and crazy, because you're talking about even like innocent people, like especially like again, maybe someone's grandmother is housing someone that could be in this, but would have nothing to do with anything. God forbid somebody's grandmother gets locked up. It's happened before.
No, absolutely,
it's happened before. Somebody's grandmother gets locked up, innocent woman, because of some stuff that's going on with this RICO, and them just trying to suppress people and just trying to squeeze them out of info, and just like, okay, fine, let Granny go. She got to go to church on Sunday. It's just crazy. This world is.
They don't care about Granny. They don't care about her peach pies on Sundays being made.
No,
They
that
gotta make
mac
the
and cheese
case.
be fire in the basement, you know.
Well, I mean, I'm all for fire mac and cheese.
Me
I'm very
too.
anti-cop, and so just on that basis alone, like let's stop Ti. Let's stop Ti in his tracks from snitching, from making things difficult for other rappers. Is this a way for him to reclaim his rap career? Just get everybody else in Atlanta arrested, like just get them all jailed on a big RICO
That's
charge.
that's a wild take.
Yo, Killer Mike and Ti teaming up to get every other rapper arrested. That's a TV
wild.
show I'd watch.
But you know what's funny? Killer Mike and Ti are very, very good rappers. Like, so it's really
Yes.
actually quite interesting that Atlanta's still on top. Like if we're talking about like regional rap and like what's really like, moving and shaking, well, I guess maybe Chicago drill rap also has a stronghold, but Atlanta, or a lot of those Chicago rappers are in Atlanta, so that's another thing.
But are they though? Like Atlanta is on top, but are Ti and Killer Mike on top of that scene?
Well, they're legacy artists at this point, but they definitely, like Killer Mike and Ti do a show, even if they co-headlined or something like that. Well, I mean, I think Ti obviously is a more commercial artist, but they did a show. If they could sell out the Barclays and then have some opening acts.
You know what? I would say that as much as that's true, they got to stay on somehow. You know what I mean? Like. And like they gotta like how do you secure the bag for years to come? And it's like, eliminate the competition. There's motive. But I would say that that was an incredibly unreliable source. And so I feel like even as a news item, I feel like a little uncomfortable using it as gospel truth, but hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I laughed at it because I saw the memes that came out of it, and it was just like so funny, and just seeing how people speculated. But I obviously, if I were Killer Mike or Ti, it would not be funny to me if I have shit to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why y'all? Why us? So
right.
I mean, it's all alleged anyway. So,
but is Killer Mike like very disappointed? Because like I feel like when you say that your dad's a cop and like, hey, like cops are not that bad, like, are you gonna be very unsettled that someone else is like, oh yeah, he's a cop? You know what I mean? Killer Mike, I do think is implicated at least somewhat. Ti, I'm looking at him like he's at least a red herring in this situation because of how he's behaved before. But yeah, I'm definitely.
All I'm saying is that the person that would do this to me would seem to be someone that was kind of exceedingly insecure in some kind of way. That's why I said it could be somebody moonlighting as a rapper, But Killer Mike to me does not come off as an insecure person. He seems pretty steadfast, and
he does.
Yeah,
I don't
see that. No. Yeah.
Ti on the other hand does not seem like a very secure person. Like,
he has
why are you
some
doing
interest.
stand-up?
Yeah. It's interesting because at the same time, I feel like I like when people branch out and just do whatever the heck they want. Like if just suddenly today a person decided they want to learn violin and they're 35, like I think that's really cool. Like I have no problem with that. But I guess it's just the way that it's something about like when someone is so good at a thing, like he's a really, really good rapper. And I suppose maybe that because the stand-up wasn't something that he could immediately tap into and just get the same kind of praise and just be, I guess, seen in the same way, it might be frustrating to him, maybe. Yeah. And that's why he's just taking it. It's almost kind of like tantrumy,
Yeah.
That's why
absolutely.
Like that. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with that. So pushing Ti under the rug where he belongs. I want to talk about the latest in the series of plagues that are dropping. Because it's like we had the first plague, and now it's like apparently there are more coming. And I'm hearing a lot about monkeypox, and I have to admit I'm very uncertain. It's giving me a feeling of like uncertainty, of like confusion and doubt. But what are you seeing? What are you hearing? Like, are we due for another pandemic?
I think it's looking like another pandemic. I think at first they were saying that monkeypox was something that was like transmitted through like sexual activity at first. And then now they're saying you can transmit it through like clothing. So it's just become something
different. That's a
different.
huge difference. Like, can we talk about how big of a difference that is? Oh my God.
It's just so crazy. But you know what's funny? Because now I was mentally prepared because of all the misinformation that was happening with the first round of the pandemic and like how COVID, we didn't know what the heck was going on.
Yes.
And we're walking around with like hazmat suits because we just don't know what's
wiping down
giving,
groceries.
Everything. Hoarding toilet paper instead of buying the groceries. I'm just like, you want to wipe your ass before, like, so we weren't, we can't, there's no sustenance here. You could wipe your ass with a goddamn leaf outside before, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like that, you know what I'm saying? But we were hunters and gatherers once. Talk about it. Let's talk about it.
We survived.
We survived. You want to go get hand sanitizer instead of feeding your children?
Yo, Australopithecus is rolling over in her grave, yo. Like,
yo, this is crazy.
We don't know ourselves. We don't know our roots.
Who are we?
Yo, but monkeypox, like one of the like main points of misinformation I'm seeing is that they were kind of treating it like the HIV epidemic. Like this is only happening among gay men, or like that was like the marketing line about it, but it actually is like, any kind of like skin-based or, like personal contact-based disease, which is like, why would that happen? Like, it brings up those same questions about COVID, where it's like,
do you go to work?
The information.
Well, like, if monkeypox is like a touch-based thing, like, do you touch people a lot? Like, I don't go around just touching people.
Nah, I'm not one of those I'm a hugger people. I also turn down I'm a hugger people. Like when people are like I'm a hugger, I'm like, that's dope. That's like fire for you. Let's have a conversation about consent. Yeah, and I like that I think that's one of the like benefits, the sort of psychic benefits for me about COVID is that like less people touch, just like like indiscriminately. Like I think that's dope. Like we needed more of that in humanity, like less touching randomly when you didn't have permission, going into people's personal space. But I think monkeypox is like, it presents another interesting vaccine dilemma because like there's an existing vaccine for it, right? Like the smallpox vaccine treats monkeypox, from what I understand.
Didn't we do that round? Like if anybody went to like undergrad or anything like that, or I think as kids, shouldn't we have monkeypox then smallpox? I feel like I've got that in. I don't know.
I feel like those were the defaults, but like as things progress, right? Like as we learn words like variants and as there are multiple, because like polio just dropped. You know what I mean? Like
I see. No.
Somebody has polio
definitely just dropped. It just dropped upstate.
Yeah, exactly. Which is wild.
Somebody in New York got the po.
Yo, it dropped like Griselda.
It did.
I think what's crazy about it is like because there are new versions of shit, and there's like a new really strong crowd who's like, I'm not going to get vaccinated. There's a real like a Kyrie Irving contingent, if you will, that like is like a big vocal part of society now. It's like, how much do those vaccines even count? Like how much do those original vaccines that you got in grade school or in undergrad, are they still effective with people out here helping the mutations go down?
I mean, and also we're now like, if you've been keeping up with the COVID rounds diligently and doing what they've been telling you to do in terms of getting the vax, the initial vax was 2. If you didn't get the Johnson & Johnson, it was 2.
Right.
Now there were also the rounds of booster shots. I believe now the normal course is that a person would be on their fourth shot right now. If you would have just have gotten your second booster, how many holes do I need in my body?
That's like
I'm not Jesus. Okay? Like, leave me be, please.
And it didn't help Jesus. You know what I mean? Like it didn't.
It didn't definitely. Still nailed his ass.
Yeah, I feel that. And then at the same time, I wonder, like, is Kyrie's refusal to get the vaccine going to cost another team a championship next year? Like, is he going to cost the Lakers a championship because he doesn't get the monkeypox vaccine? I'm at that stage of the pandemic where I'm so cynical about, one, like the effectiveness of the remedies that we have. Two, about like people being able to receive good, worthwhile information about what is happening with a particular disease that that we can count on. Like it doesn't feel like there's anything we can count on right now. And I'm like, will I get the next vaccine? Will that vaccine work? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like we were sold a bill of goods about how like, remember how hopeful we all were before there was a vaccine? You know what I mean? It was like, oh, word, like that's how vaccines work. Like then like everyone's protected, it kind of like dies down, and we're on like you said, we're on like Terminator 3 of COVID. So you have this really interesting Kyrie position that I question.
Well, let me put it like this. First of all, I'm double vaxxed, right? I drank the Kool-Aid. I was all in. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and do it. I got the Pfizer twice. I started, even as things started to progress, people be like, well, I got the Pfizer the first time. And then I went ahead and got the Johnson. The people just started having all these like, mix it up, when you boost it. And I'm just like, okay, it's starting to get weird to me. So I thought about that. Right. But the one thing I can say, because I only got those two, the initial, I never got the boosters and nothing like that, is I feel like, history is going to be very kind to Kyrie, and Kyrie is not the fool here. First of all, I respect anybody that takes the autonomy to think about what they put in their body and to think about how they want to feel about their body. The beating that this man has taken for making the decision not to get the vax is so crazy to me, because we have been hearing wild stuff all along. I saw a news report. I keep telling people, I saw Fossey on TV, and he was like, the news report it was positioned like an infographic where it was like the United States. And he was like, yeah, so like the way he was talking, I don't even remember who the heck he was talking to. Like, I wasn't totally paying attention. I was kind of like in and out of sleep. But it's like, if you're in Iowa, you might need to wear a mask. If you are in Minnesota, wear a mask. It was just like ranges of deep hues and colors. And it was like, masks are necessary here and they're not necessary here. It was just really, really insane to me. So it's like, every day the information changes. Do you need boosters? Do you need shots? Do you need this? People got the shots. I know people who have gotten the vaccine who have had COVID 3 times, like 3 different times, and still have long COVID symptoms. So there's symptoms rather. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's what you think you need to do for yourself. And I believe that Kyrie is a top athlete. He's a healthy man. He works out. I mean, like I said, he obviously cared about how he treats his body and what informs and what he puts into his body, right? On a level that most of us don't. As you know, if it's in the fast food app and it's free, it's for me. So yes, I will go out there right now. I got like 15 apps on my phone. I'm gonna cop something today. I'm gonna cop something
with some.
I got all kinds of mean with something.
Oh man,
I'm going outside.
That was like a surprisingly persuasive point. And now I started to think about like a scenario where Kyrie's the last man on earth. Like, he's like dribbling around cones and shit to fucking occupy himself.
And he's gonna be like, I told y'all so. And I'm not even I can't disrespect that man, because it's like he made a decision based on we all made decisions based on uncertainty. And I don't know what's so crazy about a person saying, how do you come up with a vaccine about this amount? Like, it's all the scientific research and so forth. I have doctors within my family that would think I sound like batshit crazy for what I'm saying right now. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard it all.
Within my family who are vaccine skeptics. So like,
right, there's that
across the board. Like,
across the board.
I feel you. Somebody draft the Kai M Legend Photoshop poster right now, because I feel like Kyrie, history will be kind to Kyrie. Definitely.
I think it will.
Yeah, like apocalyptic Kyrie is the lone survivor of the pandemics that wiped out humanity. Because the fact that we're potentially on the verge of another pandemic, like there's nothing to trust. Like no one of us can say we're an authority on how this shit's gonna go, because
no one knows.
Anyone thought that this was gonna happen. Like, between climate change, then like we're just rolling into several apocalyptic factors, and I'm like, yeah, it's a toss-up. Like, who really knows?
So I'm just gonna say this. It's gonna sound a little bit crazy and tinfoily to some people, but it's just kind of like this. And now, first of all, within this pandemic,
into it, we're very tinfoil right now.
I have also lost people within this pandemic, and COVID was sort of, There were obviously comorbidities and things going on that I believe are kind of led to why COVID was sort of tacked on as why this person passed away. There's all kinds of things that
There were
contribute,
other things.
right? Other things, you know, no one just dropped dead out of nowhere. Now, obviously, some people, you know, they might look like they're the clean bill of health, everything, and internally it could be like nothing going on, right? So you just don't know. It's like, wow, this person was so healthy, they were so young, but then you find out they might have had a heart condition, or, you know, their organs were failing. It could be all kinds of things going on. So I say all that to say, when you tell me that we are in an environment where somebody can get these booster shots, all these different shots, catch COVID 3 different times, and then get sick and die, I mean, I'm at a point where, I mean, when I think about mortality, I know one thing's for sure: I was born and I'm going to die. When that's going to happen, when my expiration date is, I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? I don't have kids, so I don't particularly think about it. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be any day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't live my life thinking about things like that. I live my life trying to make every single day matter, count, trying to do something fulfilling, trying to do something interesting, just trying to leave a necessary impact on the people that I encounter every single day. You know what I mean? That's just some awesome humanist shit, right? Like, not religious, not necessarily, just humanist. Like, I want to be able to say, like, my last interaction with that person was kind. I was not, you know, I was not I wasn't mean to that person. I didn't take anything away from them, you know, whatever. That's kind of just really where I'm at with it. So if that means that COVID or monkeypox takes me out tomorrow, that just means that I wasn't equipped. Because who's to say if I get 15 different shots, and I just keep getting these rounds every year, that I'm not going to get taken down by that too? Because I might be weakened by that. You know, I've got a lot of allergies too. I got asthma.
Yo, that's real though. I mean, I guess when I think about it like that, which is, it's fatalistic, but it's true. Like, we all are going to go at some point. I'm also just like, why are we holding on to all this? Like, I don't know, like, with the way things have been going for the last, like, however many, I'm like, yo, so what's really, like, what's on the other side? Like, I'm curious now. Like, could
isn't it like
be
90 degrees in London or something right now? They are scared out there. They're baking. They don't know what to do with themselves.
It's tidal waves, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's whole J Electronica raps waiting to be written about this phase of the world and history. So I mean, like, no, I feel you. Like, why hold on? This particular life out here in the free world doesn't seem much better than the other worlds that are potentially available to us. But speaking of freedom, you sent me a story that I'm still trying to wrap my brain around, and it's about so there's a transgender inmate who, if I'm correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, they are imprisoned with female inmates, female incarcerated people, and they have now impregnated multiple female inmates.
Yes, multiple women. Yes.
Right, and so this person presents as a woman, or is a woman, right? I feel like presents as is a woman.
That's not, that person is a woman.
This is a person with a woman, but is also a person with a penis, and is also a person with sperm, and is also a person with a functional penis that emits sperm that can also impregnate other women, right? So what do you make of the moral implications of a person who's a woman impregnating another woman who's an incarcerated person? There's a lot of persons, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of personhood in that kind of stuff.
There's a lot to think about. I think that what is so confusing probably and so jarring to people is that when we think about sexuality or in gender, we tend to think of things in very black and white terms, like this person is a woman, this person is a male. And even when we talk about attraction, right? So I suppose someone could be transgender. Someone could be a transgender woman who may have been born unidentified as a male and still be attracted to women.
Oh, absolutely.
Perhaps not even attracted to men. In fact, if I'm correct, I recall that Caitlyn Jenner is attracted to women exclusively.
Yes.
And I believe it, but yes. So that's a perfect example. So what happens here, and this is where this becomes such an unfortunate quandary, or just like, what do we do? it's complex because a lot of times when transgender women are put in male prisons, there have been many, many, many incidences and reports of them getting abused, sexually abused. There's people that have spoken about this where they'll be raped, and they'll be thrown into general population. I mean, there are
that's much more common.
Yes, that's much more common than this is a sort of, I mean, honestly, this incident is a bit of a one-off in that sense. But a lot of times these women are just, they're not protected. And, you know, if they're not housed in a separate unit, then they're just like, you know, your mama said you were a man, you know, that's what said on your initial birth certificate, and that's what you are. And they're just thrown out to not given their hormones and things like that. So there's a lot of like psychological torture that comes along with that as well. So there's that side to it. So, I mean, this is truly one of those things where I really don't know what the answer is. And I don't even know if, because again, now we're talking about things like, again, like we're thinking of things in black and white sense, like, oh, you're transgender, but yeah, that woman is a transgender woman, that's a transgender male. Do we house all of these transgender individuals, even if they don't identify gender-wise with each other? That's a dangerous dynamic as well.
But then, like as you say it, right? Like, and as a black man, as a penis haver myself, know me too. Like as a penis haver, I am cautious about when you start to bring up what needs to be done, because there's definitely like a eugenics vibe that happens. Like, oh well, if you have sperm and you produce sperm, then maybe we eliminate your sperm, like that. And that, like, there's definitely a history of that too, right? Like where black women have been sterilized in incarceration situations, black men have been sterilized. So it's like that gets into a very like murky territory of like, how do we control it, you know?
Right, because that is those types of controls are put in place for like pedophiles. So now we're just saying like a transgender person that went to jail for petty theft or something like that, like this person has to be sterilized too. That's awful. That's horrible. You know, to think about.
Completely wild.
That's something. Yeah. It's just an extreme. It's not fair, and it's crazy. Like what is? I mean, obviously none of us should be doing crimes, so there's that too. But it's, I don't know. This just is a real just wild territory that we're getting in now, because that one-off case is going to be used to inform how things will go in the future. And I don't think that's going to protect these individuals who are very vulnerable segment of society outside of jail, and certainly within the jail.
Yeah, but also in that, like, and look, people fall in love, people are like entitled to fall in love with who they fall in love with, but also it's like, bro, why are you not wearing a condom? Like, why do you want to have babies in that situation in jail? Like, why are we having jail babies? Like, that's
I don't believe. Well, the funky thing about it is I don't even think you're supposed to have condoms in jail, because you're not supposed to have sex. So rather than looking at it as a sort of a preventative thing, I don't even believe that they have them. So
well, I mean, she got to pull out, bro. Like, that's like, you got to use something. You got a withdrawal method. You know what I'm saying? Put the boys in some cold water. Like, I think it's just real. I think if you are a mindful person, right? Like whatever genitals you have, if you know that you're a person who can impregnate others and you're incarcerated, and that a pregnancy that you cause would make a baby be born in jail potentially, I feel like that's contraception enough, right? Like that, or like that can inform your family planning, so to speak, right? Like, and I think I put a little bit of like individual pressure on that person with a penis to think that way, and to the person who's the vagina haver and who can get pregnant and who can carry the baby. It's like, y'all got to think about this. Like think twice about it too. Like, what?
As the once incarcerated Kevin Gates once said, and I quote, "I'm just thinking with my dick."
Yo, we love a Kevin Gates quote. Yo,
we love a Kevin Gates quote. Yes, we do. You know.
Oh, man. Did you see that interview, by the way, with Kevin Gates and Young Miami?
I did see the interview with Carisha. And I'm going to be one of those people that I think that Carisha actually has a very unique talent in her interviewing style. And I think the reason why he was so comfortable with her, it's something that a lot of people, obviously people that are very trained in media and journalism, don't have. is that, first of all, she's from the South, and a lot of people criticize her for the way she talks, but I've lived in the South before, and to me, Carisha sounds like a lot of people. I don't think she necessarily sounds ignorant. It's like a dialect.
No, not at all.
So I'm just like, she sounds like a lot of people that I know, you know. But it's interesting because she disarmed him in a way that interview would not have gone anywhere near as smoothly or as interesting had anybody else that we know that's a top media person, male or female, than it did with her. Wow. She knew what to ask. She knew how to speak to him. There was just a comfortability with their vibe. And it's something that's unique to her that I do believe she has a very special something that other people don't have. Too. So I
agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But also, like, is Kevin Gates the hardest interview? You know, like he be saying wild shit in the streets. Every time I see a headline about Kevin Gates, like there's no headline like Kevin Gates is about to drop 6th studio album. Like there are no standard headlines when it comes to Kevin Gates. So I'm just like that in combination with the fact that she's a good interviewer, I feel like made for some amazing clips between them.
But he was comfortable with her though, in a way that he's not always comfortable. I've seen women interview with him where a woman just kind of like we were talking about the touching, right? She kind of gently puts her arm on her hand on him, and he kind of goes like, you know, like he was uncomfortable, like he did not like, don't touch me, I don't know you. Like there's some people that just, you could tell there's a, you know, kind of a force field almost, like you over there, you know, pre-COVID even.
He gives me real vampire vibes. Like I feel like Kevin Gates is a vampire secretly. Like he's aging backwards. He has like, he only wears black. You know what I'm saying? His hair is slicked back and shit. Like he's definitely on some black vampire shit.
Somebody on Twitter said he's the evil Muhammad Ali.
Yo, for real, bro.
That is not my joke. But when they said that, I can't get that out of my head.
No, but it's very true. I'm always very impressed by how people who have unorthodox belief systems become either social pariahs or heroes. And so the next person that we're going to talk about is, I think she actually represents a good amount of people. Like in the same way you were saying that Carisha does, like Monique has landed on Netflix after some years of controversy and being dismissed by one half of the population as maybe like deserving the way that she was treated, and then and also like held up by the other half of the population, like, oh, she is this is symptomatic of what happens to Black women. And I definitely want to hear your take about Monique, her Netflix special actually landing after they had their very public dispute. Is Monique gonna be roaring into this comeback?
I think that for this, okay, this is where I'm at with Monique. Like, so at first, when I first heard it, because I'm always just really like, let me just sit back, see how, you know, see how things play out, what's really going on. I am not the kind of person that immediately just takes a side and just goes like, well, this person that, or that person that. I don't know what's happening. So I need to figure out what's going on. And especially when I see a pattern of behavior that tends to repeat itself with a person, it doesn't mean that the person is wrong. It just means that I just need to kind of keep my eyes on it to see how things play out. You mean
the bonnet brigadier?
So listen, I'm just trying, I'm just telling, right. I'm just
Sergeant Skullcap.
So I'm just telling you that's silly. When I'm seeing her, you know, talk about the injustices, I saw truth in that. I do feel like there are things like things, you know, multiple things can be true. I do believe that there's truth to Monique being blacklisted. Now, the question would be, what led to that? How did we get here? What was the conversation? Like how did we arrive at this juncture where someone who is, you know, someone that won an Oscar and that has been, you know, lauded for, you know, their accomplishments is suddenly just like, you know, persona non grata. How did we get there? Right. So I'm starting to see that a lot of that has to do with how she views herself and how she's forcing other people to acknowledge how she views herself. There's nothing wrong with confidence, I don't think. There's nothing wrong with just being really, really, from just really this knowing your worth and knowing what you bring to the table and speaking about, you know, what you've done and just really trying to get your money or whatever the case may be. But there's something very unusual to me about the way that Monique went about it. It was just like, you know, boycotting Netflix, let's get the heck out of here, cancel your subscriptions. You know, they are the worst people in the world on the planet. And then suddenly she pops up and says, hey guys, I'm back home, y'all. Come on now, we doing the special. Child. And then she's like, and guess what else? Now I'm doing that with Willie Daniels. I'm like, dude, like what's going on here?
Yeah,
Apparently she reached a settlement with her. I'm gonna say I got a hot take that's wild too on this one too, because it kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna say this, I have to say this, it kind of gave me cat vibes.
Ooh.
Because I'm like, yo, what are you really trying to do? Because now you're settling with them. Like, did you want to play? What was this about? Was this active? Like, what do you want to do? Because you told us we can't watch football no more. Wow. You told us we're out the game, but you taking money from these people. You holding court in other places. Like, you're doing all kinds of things that don't suggest to me that you're doing what you're
not here to die on the cross for the cause of Black women in entertainment. You are.
No, you're not. You're just like, this is I mean, and it's okay. This is what I'm saying. Look, we are not perfect. A lot of the things that we do, we're not perfect. We do hypocritical things every single day. Like, there's just so many things that we all do that we should not be doing, the things that we could be doing better, ways that we can improve, our character, our worth, ourselves, the betterment. I mean, just whatever the case may be. So I never, ever, ever take a position as if I'm some person that operates in the best light at all times. It's just not true for anyone. You know what?
I don't know. There were some red flags. Like, I mean, with Monique, the doobie detective, there were some red flags. And I think one of the red flags, when you talk about knowing your worth and like, being confident, like not being run over by anyone, I totally agree with all those things, right? And she's got the reputation to stand on. She's toured, right? But I think the red flags for me were, and I don't think this person's unassailable, but it's like when you try to take down Oprah, like in order to show people that like Black women haven't been respected in entertainment, I'm just like, I don't think this is giving what you think it's giving, Monique.
But I'm gonna stand up for Monique on that one, because her problem with Oprah to me was a valid one. It was a valid criticism, because her thing was, Oprah, don't interview my family. I don't want this particular information out there. And Oprah just thought that the story was bigger than whatever Monique's needs were, or her feelings. I think sometimes you just have to kind of really take a step back. And even if you got that one thing that's really gonna break and be interesting, sometimes you just have to honor somebody's request. And at least if all things are true, right? If it goes exactly how Monique said, then I do see where she's coming from. I do see where Oprah, could have really done her a solid and just like kept her family out of it.
I agree with that. I mean, and Oprah's a wild shady, and she's a snake too. So like, I don't think that there was anything.
You're right about the whole take down Oprah. That's delusional. You can't take down Oprah.
Right.
You can disagree with what Oprah did.
That's like a little alarming to me. It's like if there's a target in this, it's like, who's your family? Like, who's your cousin who's willing to leak this to Oprah? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you going at the wrong one, homie. Like, and the fact that like it became this like Oprah, Tyler Perry, like I'm taking them all out. It's like, if your complaint is with the power structure of media and how Black women are kept out of it, and you're using Black folks as the targets, I think there's something like fundamentally misaligned. Now, I do think that like that's true. Tyler Perry and Oprah, what they represent in terms of gatekeeping is negative. It can be very harmful, because what they'll do to like ply their trade, and also like, let's hope they never see this YouTube video, right? Like, cause it's like we'll get erased in a second. Like if Tyler Perry or Oprah are displeased, it's like, yo, you're a Chicagoan and shit. Like, I don't want to be on Oprah's bad side or Tyler Perry's bad side.
Pull up to my mama's house, like
right. But it's also like that is not the target, or that is not an accurate target for the power structure that you are complaining against. And then the other thing is like, what did you win the Oscar for too, right? Like when we talk about like the Lee Daniels relationship and like Precious, and it's like, you played that game too, with like the negative image of Black women being how you gotta come up. So it's like, can you have it both ways, Monique? Like, are you able to say like, I'm calling out this system that stereotypes me as the role I played to win my Oscar? Like, that's like, I don't know. It just reeks of, like you said, this kind of like self-interested, like convenient cause célèbre moment of hers that she used to kind of like galvanize a following that she hadn't really catered to for probably over a decade.
Yeah. self-interest, then just say that. That's what I'm saying. Like, no one's asking you to be like, like some sort of like leader, or no one's asking you to be a role model or anything. Just be who you are. I have much more respect for a person that just stands in their so-called truth than a person that pretends to be something that they're not. Don't make this something that it's not. That's all I'm saying. So don't make it something that it's not.
And the browbeating Black women for wearing bonnets, like it's just so inconsistent. Like she's on so many sides of the aisle of like how Black women need to be represented. And I just like, and then also the whole wife school shit is like her husband's her king and he can do whatever.
Like daddy and all this stuff.
Weird.
I have a father, you know what I mean? And he's a good dad. And I'm just not gonna sit here and call some random ass mofo daddy. Like that's nothing.
Nah, she's weird, yo. She's on some Hollywood weirdo shit, and like she wants us to believe that she's here for us. And I'm like, yo, if you had the credibility as a Black comedian, even from touring Black audiences, to do a Netflix special, you would have a Netflix special because Netflix gives a special to fucking everybody. You know what I mean?
My thing is, even I take it like this. It's even like when coming down to that DL Hughley moment. It's like, even if you make me, if I was her, let's just say, like just how I think, if you made me open up and like 4 other comedians are coming, then there's DL Hughley or something like that. So I'm just like the opener as Monique. I'm gonna take it. I would just be like, yo, you can put me wherever I want, wherever you want. If I truly believe my routine is the best routine in the house, then I'm gonna be a tough act to follow. I don't care who comes after me. I don't care who comes before me. If I'm that good, it doesn't matter. I can't imagine, like, I'm a person like I just don't like being involved in things that have nothing to do with me. Like, if I were in the audience at that moment when she was like kind of ranting about DL Hughley, I probably, just the way that I am, I probably would have got up and left. Like, this is weird. It would have thrown my whole. It would have thrown my whole.
This is like name on the marquee shit that has nothing to do with jokes. Like, I'm here to see jokes.
Like, I was here to see jokes, I'm here to laugh, and like you just messing up my evening. As a bar across the street. Come on, y'all, let's go another time. I just don't have time for that type of stuff. Like, I don't entertain nonsense. That's nonsense. Like, I get irritated at nonsense.
I also don't think that like her like skinny bitches are evil bits are gonna play the same way in 2022. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was like Comic View days, those are really popping jokes. I don't think those same jokes are gonna hit the way she thinks they're gonna hit.
And that is something that interesting that you said that, because that's what I think is happening here. I think that, comedy and the world has evolved in a different kind of way. So I think that what we're witnessing is someone who is having a sort of an identity crisis right before our eyes, because they probably don't feel like they measure up. And you cannot tell those same jokes in today's world and expect to get a laugh off. No one's with the fat shaming. Nobody's with the skinny shaming. No one's with any of the shamings, right? Like, all that shit is just this.
Look at the Chappelle shit. Look at the Chappelle shit.
Yo, they just canceled a show that he was doing, right? Somewhere in like the Midwest or something.
Yeah, in Minnesota.
In Minnesota it was, and he had to like switch venues because they were like, yo, we just can't support this because of the type of comedy. And Chappelle, it's like, it's weird because he's really, really dying on this hill. And it's like, dude, do you have jokes anymore? Because you are funny, but like, why are we constantly talking about transgender people? Now it's starting to feel like is there something you want to tell us?
I feel a little too close to your Pornhub searches now. This 2 to 3 years is like, these are just keywords in your search box, because like there's no jokes about them. Like, you just keep like trans this, trans that. Like, I'm like, dog, like trans folks are really on your mind for someone who is like doesn't care about that as an issue. It's not a big deal, right? Like, I don't know about that.
I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Best of luck to them. I think our legends in comedy, they're having a little bit of sort of existential crisis that's happening out there. I don't know, maybe the redemption is, as you said, maybe like Monique should get on stage with a bonnet on, and like that'll kind of supercharge her, and that'll be like her. Remember that girl that was married to that is married to that guy that got called out? She called it like her helmet of glory.
Yes. Derek Jackson.
Yes. So hopefully Monique, maybe she'll go there, and it's like, it's going to like, rejuvenate her and bring her back to her. Yes,
embrace it. I feel like there's so much, this fertile ground. Like, if Dave gets on stage with Eddie Murphy and they do a series of trans jokes about Eddie Murphy getting caught up in the 90s, that's way funnier to me.
That would be, than
like planting this flag of like, trans people don't get to be trans. It's like, no, like, just talk about how you pick up trans sex workers, and like, I think everything is like solved there, right?
If he got ahead of that and they really told that story, because Richard Pryor didn't care. He was just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah,
And
he didn't care. He
they
was
also they all look up to him.
yeah, they do. And he did not care. Like he was like, yeah, so what? Who
He
cares?
was unashamed. He
So
was unashamed,
yeah.
which is what made his comedy legendary and what's making their comedy stale. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not informed about this topic, but I knew you would be. And
Mhm.
so I left I left myself completely ignorant to it. But pink sauce?
Okay, so this whole pink sauce controversy, there's a TikToker, and this woman on TikTok has, I guess, came up with this recipe of this sort of this pink sauce that you're supposed to put on all your food. So I'm looking through all of these different videos and just trying to like understand like what is this pink sauce? Because I didn't understand it because I'm seeing her and I thought it was other people like with testimonials, but it was really her. She's putting like pink sauce on fries, on quarter pounders. She's putting it on like fried chicken, all kinds of things. But somehow it took off.
Hmm,
So people started buying the pink sauce, and no one was really able to like describe what the sauce was, or that no one was talking about like what it tasted like.
okay.
So, but one of the complaints was just like, yo, this sauce, every time she ships it out and makes a new batch, it's a different color. So there's different variations of color.
Okay.
Someone pointed out that with the ingredients that she was using, or supposedly that are on the label, it's not even shelf stable. So when she's mailing it out in like these, like, you know, when you get something from Amazon and they just put it like
Right.
in a little bubble sleeve, she's
Right.
mailing it out like that. There are people that have been receiving it and it's like all busted up too. It's like when you receive it, you shouldn't even be consuming it anyway. It's not even
Mhm.
packaged properly. And then
Wow.
somebody else, some woman just had the creative like leaning in mind to sort of deconstruct it and just understand what it must be. When she looked at what it was, she was like, this is nothing but like, you know, mayo, like a kind of an aioli, really. Like that's all it really was. Like it's nothing but like,
Wait, so she's shipping mayonnaise
she's
with
sipping pink mayonnaise,
like
like this
bloated
aioli.
mayonnaise bottles.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Also,
So I
why are
mean,
people eating that though? You like, uh,
you, in all of my fast food splendor, I also do have a very, very hoteppy side to myself. I have a little bit of Kyrie to myself as well. And there's just certain things I do not have the capacity to
you draw the
consume.
line. You draw the line.
I just draw the line. A woman on TikTok cannot sell me on a pink sauce that she can't even describe the taste. And then when you look at the ingredients, the irony of all of this is on the ingredients list. First of all, she spelled vinegar wrong. It's like vinegar or something like that. But the irony of all of it is that she put on the sauce that the infamous sauce. It's infamous now, but people don't even know the language that they're using. Infamous is not, it's not a complimentary term. You know, it's just not. So if you can imagine
Infamous.
infamous, like that's actually quite horrible. Like,
Oh
so
my
you're telling
God.
me I'm supposed to consume something that says infamous on the bottle and it's pink?
Yo,
What's going on? When I
notorious
saw,
aioli.
yo, exactly.
That's so wild to me.
So,
First of
and
all, it's wildest to me that you're like, I eat Chick-fil-A, but I have standards.
oh yeah, I listen. Okay, like I will get a quarter pounder with cheese, no pickles, and no ketchup, because ketchup does not belong in a burger. That's absolutely crazy.
Listen, I'm
Certainly
just
pink
envious
sauce
of
in a
your
burger.
abs. Like you still have abs, right? And
Yeah,
I'm just
I still have abs.
those African genes are so fucking powerful because I'm like I could never like
It's all African shit. I'm not anybody special. I'm not doing anything special. Like literally, it is just East African stuff. Because if you went to East Africa, we all look alike. Everybody looks like me. If
yeah.
anybody was like, wow, like how did she do that? Go on to the continent. Go ahead, get your passport stamp. Go over there. There's a million people that look. I'm a very, very. There's nothing unique about my aesthetic at all. Nothing.
Yo, like I feel like you've never done a burpee. You know what I'm saying? Like people need to know like that. Like it's that level of like you don't be like hitting the push-ups and then Chick-fil-A as a reward. Like this is like
no, not like that.
very natural. Like I don't have to do anything. I'm just I think with the pink sauce phenomenon, I'm like, look, we as a community, we have to like start
Wow.
like implementing some standards with
You
ourselves.
brought the community.
Yo, for real, like nah, because yo, as a community, like mambo sauce is acceptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
mambo sauce, New York, Chicago, DC, Miami,
Yes.
LA.
New York has the
wherever you
mild
go,
sauce too. Mhm.
exactly. When you wherever you go where black people are, mambo sauce we have accepted, and we say, look, we know the risks involved. We know that it's some sort of ketchup, sweet and
Yeah.
sour hybrid. We have an agreement with the
May-
Korean and
may,
Chinese.
may change at different locations, but it
Right,
has
right.
it's
There's some
still within the
variance.
Yeah, but it's still within the range. We know what it is. Yeah.
Right.
Or
We know what it
think
is. And
yeah.
look, it's like it's reasonable risk, right? Like where we know the risk that we're taking. The pink sauce shit, as you've explained it to me, it seems like some Frankenstein for social influencer like cred. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it going that far into our community integrity basket. You know what I'm saying? Like she didn't earn that cred to be able to spread that around.
I knew it was all bad when I saw her preparing the sauce and she had a waist trainer on. I was like, oh, this person isn't serious about anything. they're not serious. Like, no. You telling me pink sauce and waist trainer? Nah, okay, whatever. Yeah,
she's rocking the flat tummy tee with the with the pink
with the promo code. Nah, bro. Like, nah, we out of here. This don't have nothing to do with me. Like, I'm not the audience for this.
Even with the pink sauce tragedies that are befalling so many upstanding people, here's what I'll say to the folks as we sign off. It's like,
are they upstanding?
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's like they kind of like give up their upstanding status with that. I'll just say like the two messages I want people to leave with from this is the jail babies. Let's think twice before we're gonna conceive. Like if you're a penis haver, if you're a vulva haver, if there is something that can create a baby in jail, let's think twice about it. Pink sauce. If there's anything that has a number as an ingredient, a number or multiple syllables, let's check in about it before we adapt it as a community. That's my main takeaways from today's episode.
I mean, my other takeaway, and I mean, again, penis havers, vagina havers, whatever the case may be, and if you're someone that is fertile, also these COs need to stop sleeping with the inmates too, because it's happening that way as well. Oh yeah, everybody stop sleeping with each other in jail unless it's consensual, and you're not in a power dynamic where you are abusing the person, because an inmate sleeping with a CO is also being abused, in my opinion, even if they're being manipulated. That's an abuse of power. Absolutely. Stop sleeping with people that can get you pregnant, and stop impregnating people. Stop impregnating your cellie. That's don't do that.
Don't do that. That's not.
Don't do that.
You know what I mean? Like you get money taken off your books for every inmate you impregnate. I love how this became Unhinged. Like I feel like we started in a very like, all right, like we're gonna cover these things, and then it just
like this is who they really are.
It just starts spinning out of control, which I really do love. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I can't wait to get back on the chat and talk about the latest fuckery again. And we've got even more topics we didn't get to cover. So I hope you all subscribe and check this out.
Please, guys, subscribe again. My name is Koku Puff at Koku Puff. Yep, we're here. And you're watching Unhinged. This is episode number 3, and we're out.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out the Unhinged podcast with Koku Puff and Drew Breez. If you like what you see, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.